Alright, wow. Okay, ang dami po natin. So far, there are 129, 130 ngayon people inside the Zoom. So dadami pa po tayo. So while we're waiting, again, I'd just like to say a reminder for those who had just come in. Let's rename our Zoom IDs to our first name, hyphen followed by the school from where we are from. So para mas uniform tayo and mas madali nating ma-recognize ang isa't isa. So we're just waiting for everyone to come in. Okay, and we will start our program at around 1:10 p.m. Salamat po.
I'm Gabriel Abad, 16, Futsal Varsity, and a member of the Student Council as the Public Relations Officer of the school year 2020-2021. Mula sa fashion capital of Metro Manila, Parañaque City, and I'm your first host for today.
And I am Kian Bawagan, your second host, here to keep you entertained.
And I am Joaquin Padilla, your third host. And take note po, hindi po ako kamag-anak ni Daniel Padilla o kaya ni Robin Padilla. But before that, we'd like to start today's program with a powerful prayer to be led by Mr. Jaja Britannico.
Let us put ourselves in the loving presence of our Lord, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, we thank you for gathering us today, the culmination of our hard work and perseverance and thorough preparation. Bless those who gave their full effort and precious time to prepare for this event. We pray that may today's program be successful so that the hard work of those who prepared this be paid off. Guide every participant and keep all of us safe. For everyone here in this meeting from different schools, students, and teachers, infuse upon us the gift of wisdom and understanding, that may we learn something new, something that would create a lasting impact. And as this event ends, may we continue to bring with us all the learnings and knowledge and apply all of this in society. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Jaja. Please place your right hand on your chest and all together sing the national anthem. You may close your webcam.
Please keep your microphones muted. To all the students and teachers of PAREF Southridge, raise your right hand and recite the oath of a Southridge gentleman.
I am a Southridge gentleman.
And I dedicate myself to our mission
of strengthening the family and of forming people
according to the Christian ideal,
to be pious and sporting in spirit,
to hone myself in the sciences and the arts,
to equip myself with leadership and interpersonal skills,
to serve others, especially the needy,
to have zest for learning and virtue,
driven by a personal vision of my role in the community,
which stems from the love of God
and the sense of responsibility for the gifts I have received.
I live by the Southridge motto,
Viriliter Agite.
We, the Southridge family,
trusting in God's abundant grace,
work as one team,
move as one body,
and act as one family,
to make our vision a reality.
Alright, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat and welcome to our official HeForShe Conference for this year 2021. Kamusta po kayo lahat? I am very excited to welcome you guys here. We have people from all parts of the Philippines. It is very exciting. We have students from Bacolod, from Davao, from Pampanga, from Batangas, from Quezon. This is almost an international conference, and believe me, we have a lineup of very excellent speakers na naghihintay lang po na mabigyan kayo ng insights nila about sa ating topics for today. So I hope you guys are prepared. You can take down notes, you can record, you can listen as well as you can. Okay, and hopefully we can take away something from this conference and apply it in our day-to-day lives. So before anything else, gusto po talaga namin magpasalamat for taking the time out of your Saturday afternoons and spending it with us. Kami na po ang nagsasabi, hindi po kayo magsisisi. So please relax, okay, and listen to our speakers as we spend this afternoon with each other as we talk about gender equality and the HeForShe conference. So from the bottom of our hearts, from everyone po nag-spend ng so much time in preparing for this conference, maraming salamat po for being here and welcome to the HeForShe conference.
Yan nga. Gusto lang naman namin i-acknowledge yung mga schools na present dito sa ating conference. So, let's start off with De La Salle Lipa, headed by Miss May Bernadette Bautista, Mr. Aldwin Baldovino, and Mr. Arthur Dimaculangan. We also have University of San Carlos South Campus, Miss Junah B. Abellanosa, and Teacher Daegie Montermoso. We have Ateneo de Naga University, headed by Miss Christine and Panen, and also Ateneo de Naga University Junior High School, headed by Mr. Helton A. Nepomuceno. Meron din tayo mga taga-Assumption College of Davao, which is headed by Miss Hazel Jumawan-Restor. We also have Colegio del Sagrado, Corazon de Jesus, headed by Miss Joji Ermel M. Laurea. We have St. Scholastica's College of Manila. We have University of Baguio High School, headed by Miss Jubilin G. Kiing. We also have San Isidro Catholic School, University of St. LaSalle Integrated School, headed by Miss Sheila Mayticar and Miss Irene Jacqueline Magbanwa. We have St. Leonard Academy, Assumption College, Miraculous Middle School, and we have Blessed Sacrament Catholic School, headed by Miss Christine B. Camila. We have Servite School Incorporated, headed by Miss Cherry B. Fernandez. So yes, let's welcome them. So right now we're gonna introduce our judges for today. All right, we have 6 judges, and our first judge will be the president of Metro Escolta Rotary Club, Miss Sen Villanueva. Our second judge is from Tinejeros National High School, Mr. Angelo Espiritu. Our third judge will be from University of St. LaSalle Integrated School, Miss Sheila Ticar. And our fourth judge will be from University of Baguio, Miss Violeta Apiles. And our fifth judge is from Colegio del Sagrado, Corazon de Jesus, Miss Joji Laurea. And our last judge is from PAREF Southridge School, Subject Development Officer of Social Studies, our very own Mr. Irwin Varon. And I would just like to thank you for the following: Mr. Ariel Marcera, the Principal of Afternoon School, Mr. Luis Consod, the Afternoon School Personal Formation Officer. We also like to extend our gratitude to the parents who's here in our event. Maraming salamat po mga parents. Ayan po, we have Mr. Francis Lee, DSR Guidance Counselor and Religion Teacher. And thank you to Ms. Farah A. Cabrera, Social Welfare Officer, Head Social Worker of DSWD NCR Marilac Hills, Alabang, Muntinlupa. Thank you.
Now, we will formally start today's program with a short inspirational talk to be given by Mr. Francis Lee. He is a teacher from Southridge and he will be talking about gender equality based on his own perspective and knowledge about it. Please welcome Mr. Lee.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Let me just share my screen. Can you stop sharing first, whoever is sharing, so that I can probably share my screen? Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Maybe I can give a little background about how this came to be. I mean, how the boys invited me. Uh, it was actually the most unexpected invitation I'd received from the Southridge students to give a short inspirational speech or inspirational talk. Rather, I was consulting with Mr. Incabo, the moderator and the teacher of the students. Actually, I won't talk about gender equality. I will talk about human dignity. Why is that? Because more than equality, the most important thing for the world, at least for each and every one of us, is dignity. And let me begin with your favorite K drama series, uh, Chloe, where Captain Ri and Yoon Se-ri met in North Korea. And you know, the North Koreans, the soldiers, they're always instructed to kill whoever trespasses the boundary or the boundary of North Korea. And here comes Captain Ri to in the scene when Yoon Se-ri landed. Captain Ri decided to bring her home, take care of her instead of killing her or putting her on trial. And along the way, you'd see you'd realize why he did that, and it's probably because he found the value in her. In fact, in towards the end of the series, it's very interesting that the South Korean police tried to understand Captain Ri's presence in South Korea, and the chief of the police was laughing, and he was in awe that Captain Ri was able to actually express a lot of values of his love for Yoon Se-ri. And it is important to find the value of a person. It is very important that we understand each other's value because that promotes dignity. That helps promote dignity. Uh, that means caring, respect, uh, everything that about another person. That from the time a person is formed in the womb, from the time we were conceived in the womb to natural death, dignity is present. The moment life happens, that life has dignity. And each and every one of us here have that same dignity. Whether you're a boy or a girl, a man or woman, we have equal dignities. How do we know that? The boys told me to insert more than just my professional experience as a counselor, as a psychologist, some religious thought. And why is it important? Because dignity actually started from that. Where exactly? In the creation of Adam and Eve. When God created Adam and Eve, God said, "Let us form man in our image." And God breathed on the man who is Adam. And that same life that was given to Adam, that life consists of dignity. Dignity that is only in humans, not in any other form of creation. Why? It is because of all of God's creatures, it is man that has intellect and will. And that gives us that dignity. And Eve came later on. And Eve has equal dignity from Adam. Why? Because when God took a rib from Adam to form Eve, Adam said when he woke up, "Here at last is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. We are the same. We are equal." Now, if you wonder why it was taken from the rib, because the rib is the mid part of our body, probably. That's why that rib is then equal with a woman. So both man and woman are equal in dignity. They have equal dignities. And no one can remove that dignity. Therefore, no amount of unjust discrimination can be tolerated against man and woman. Again, I'm using the word unjust because the word unjust removes that dignity. But discrimination per se does not remove dignity, only unjust discrimination. What do I mean by that? Discrimination is actually necessary. But in our context now in our society, we look at discrimination always as unjust. Now, let me give you a thought. When you go to the marketplace, you see a fruit stand. And a fruit stand separates the apples from the oranges to the grapes to the bananas to the melons, watermelons, and all these other fruits. And why is that? Why are they separated? So that it's easy to identify. It's easy to see. And what do we call that process of identifying each and every one? We call that process the process of discrimination. When we identify man and woman, that is discrimination in itself, and it is okay, provided that it is not unjust. And where did this all start? From the creation of the world. When God said, "Let there be light," He separated light from darkness. He discriminated light from darkness. Let there be fish in the ocean and birds in the sky and animals on the land. He separated the fish from the birds to the animals. And that process is called discrimination. It is necessary provided that it is not unjust. You get me, I suppose. All right? But at the end of it, at the end of everything, when we speak of man, when we speak of a person, man or woman, discrimination is necessary because each and every person has a purpose and has a role. And that purpose and role is defined by the way we discriminate ourselves from the others. Like how a boy courts a girl, like how a boy takes care of a woman. That is necessary. And let me end with this. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, all of us have that dignity. And that dignity cannot be taken away from us by anyone. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
So, ayan, salamat Mr. Lee sa iyong message sa amin. So, to begin, feel free to ask questions in the chat box and we will try to answer them as best as we can at the end of the program. We highly encourage everyone po to open their cameras and keep their mics muted. Thank you. To introduce the first presentation, let us all welcome Mr. Andrew Rodriguez.
For our first presenter, they will be discussing women in prisons. Their presentation title is Injustices on Women, How Law Works for Them. Let's hear it from Group 1 of Grade 10 AAS, composed of Elijah Francis Bretanico, Francis Reggie Cerezo, Charles Gidaya, Vince Gabriel Lonzame, and Deljan Malaras.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are the first presenter from grade 10 representing section A. Next slide. I assume that most, if not all of you, have heard the story of Reyna May Nasino, a political prisoner. Political prisoner refers to those imprisoned due to their political beliefs. Amidst the pandemic, her story created a stir among lawmakers or legislators and human rights advocates. Instead of a continuous 3-day furlough or visit, they reduced it to 6 hours within 2 days, 3 hours each. However, what made this more grueling is the fact that Bong Revilla, a politician arrested due to plunder, had the privilege to visit his father. Zaldi Ampatuan, detained for charges of murder, was allowed to attend his daughter's wedding. How come a grieving mother cannot? So that video summarized how Ina May was unfairly treated during her visit to Baby River's wake. Nagkakagulo, nagkakadikit-dikit, hindi man lamang nabigyan ng pagkakataon na makapagluksa si Reyna May ng tahimik at matiwasay. Ang video na iyon ay tinagal lamang ng 8 segundo. Ganito lamang kaikli. Ngunit ang 8 segundo lamang ang nagpapakita ng mahabang mensahe para sa atin. But then, she's only one of the faces of injustices against women in prison. Isa lamang ang kanyang istorya sa mga nagtampok ng ilan sa mga injustisya na nararanasan ng mga nakapiit, kabilang at lalong-lalo na ng mga kababaihan sa loob ng kulungan. Hindi nag-iisa ang istorya ni Ina May at hanggat hindi ito natutugunan at nabibigyang pansin, hindi rin ito ang magiging panghuli.
So, based on the assessment of the Commission on Human Rights, the Correctional Institution for Women claims that as of 2018, 58.78% of their total population committed crimes relative to the opium and prohibited drugs. It can be observed that illegal drug-related cases comprise the highest percentage, which rapidly increased during the administration campaign against illegal drugs. 26.45% committed crimes against property. Included among these are crimes of robbery, theft, swindling, extortion, and many more. 11.48% committed crimes against persons or physical divided into 3 general classifications: destruction of life, assault, and rape. 2.4% are crime against personal liberty. This includes crimes of kidnapping, legal search and threats, and many more.
Next slide, please. 0.10% are crimes against national security. These include crimes of treason and espionage, provoking war and disloyalty in case of war, and etc. 0.61% are crimes committed by public officers. These include crimes of corruption and negligence of duty by the public officials and the public servants. 0.10 crimes are against public order. These include crimes of rebellion, sedition, and disloyalty. Lastly, the remaining percentages is crimes against public moral, special laws, and quasi-offenses. Under Article 365 of the Revised Penal Code, quasi-offenses are distinct and separate crimes and not a mere modality of the commission of a crime.
Poverty incidence rate. The Philippines has a 21.6% poverty incidence rate. In actual numbers, it includes over 20 million Filipinos, or about 1/5 of the country's total population. Lamentably, crimes have always been consociated with the prevalent poverty incidence rate. Hindi maikakaila na ang mga krimen ay nakaugnay o hindi maihihiwalay sa suliranin ng kahirapan.
So, Duterte's administration's war on drugs. The administration's campaign against illegal drugs increased the death toll. Concerning this, many women surrendered due to the fear of experiencing the same fate as the victims of extrajudicial killings. The significant increase in the number of women in detention resulted in adding more and more inmates to the already congested and overcrowded jails.
The Public Attorney Office, or PAO, headed by Persida Rueda Acosta, conducted a study from 2015 evaluating the state of pregnant women inside prisons. They have surveyed 5 different prisons, where 37% of those are women. 98.31% said that pregnant women don't have proper sleeping quarters, and this is clearly a violation of the Constitution and law. They should be privileged with facilities appropriate and sufficient for their needs. 42.86% said that there's no special treatment for pregnant women, while 78.67% have their bed space and 20% sleep elsewhere. Due to overpopulated jails, their welfare became compromised. Under the United Nations rules for the treatment of women, prisoners, and non-detention initiatives for women inmates, when nursing infants are required to reside with their mothers in an institution, arrangements shall be made for nurseries staffed by competent persons where the infants are held while they are not in the custody of their mother.
So, several problems emerge on food and water supply, insufficient healthcare services, medical negligence, and sleep deprivation and lack of mobility. Under the Anti-Torture Act, which sees sleep or rest, denial as mental or psychological torture, sleep-deprived prisoners, including pregnant prisoners, are subjected to this kind of cruelty in overcrowded prisons. These problems show the reality that they are experiencing behind the bars of jails, and it's time that we acknowledge and accept this reality and do something about it.
Women don't seek for special treatment, but rather a compassionate and humane one. Hindi kalabisan na ibigay o ipagkaloob sa kanila kung ano ang nararapat. Hindi panglalamang kundi pagkakapantay-pantay. Ang pananawag ito ay hindi paghingi ng espesyal, bagkus ng makatao at ng patas na pagtrato.
So, according to the Sentencing Project in 2019, the imprisonment rate of African Americans is 83 per 100,000, compared to 46 only on white women. This means that the imprisonment rate of African Americans is over 1.7 times higher than that of white women. Race is clearly a determining factor of injustices experienced by these women, and as long as we turn a blind eye to the pain of those suffering under its oppression, we will never escape from its origins. They have been through the battles of discrimination, which emanates as a factor on their lacking and unequal access to justice. And by looking back on historical jurisprudence of the United States of America, race must always be considered a variable. United States of America's landmark cases. Brown v. Board of Education ended racial segregation. Gideon v. Wainwright bestowed the right to a free legal counsel. Miranda v. Arizona removed the right of officials to arrest individuals without informing them of their right to an attorney. These landmark cases cultivated a foundation on achieving equality and access to justice for every citizen deprived of having equal rights, most especially people of color, including women. Supposedly following this jurisprudence, we must now be able to achieve equality. But sadly, it's still not there. It's still not equal. Article 3, Bill of Rights of the Constitution, states that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of laws. Justice Vitug stated in his different opinion on the case of Secretary of Justice versus Honor Ralph Lanchon, verily, whenever there's an imminent threat to the life, liberty, or property of any person in any proceeding, conducted by or under the auspices of the state, his right to due process of law, when demanded, must not be ignored.
So the existing RA number 9999 also guarantees the right to free legal assistance, especially for those who don't have the resources for legal services. Legal assistance focus on the rule of law, as it is an integral aspect of an equitable, humane, and effective system of justice.
Our Constitution and existing laws guarantee the rights of every citizen. Although law shall admittedly be objective, we shall perceive that it should likewise be humane. It is true that law must be objective, but more than that, law must also have a heart. The Constitution and other subsisting legislation endeavored to preserve and uphold every individual's well-being. Following 34 years ere its ratification, let us finally implement and bequeath its granted justices upon our fellow citizens.
But what now? Ensure that women are handled in compliance with the law in every prison. Only because they are inside prisons doesn't mean their rights can be easily violated. Any unjust and discriminatory treatment towards them must be condemned.
Provide help for legal assistance and advice. Many women don't know their rights, and so some people take advantage of it. Their right for information and knowledge is an essential aspect of their access to justice.
So for our group's campaign material, we came up with the idea of selling t-shirts as our share or part to further promote equality. We aim to spread awareness and understanding with the status of women in society. Through our presentation, we hope that we somehow did a significant action in this still timely issue. I would also like to thank Gabriel Inserto, my classmate from grade 10, section A, for helping us with the design.
Now, showing our advocacy, can I take a minute to present it first? Thank you. Tinatakan na siya mula sa pagkasanggol. Binihisa ng maganda at ikinulong sa hawla.
Pinahimbing ng panalangin at mga kwentong bayan, hindi siya ginising ng halik ng isang prinsipe,
kundi ng tawag ng kanyang panahon na nagudyok sa kanyang pandayin ang sariling talino, isip, tinig at mga bisig.
Piliin ang sarili niyang landas at tuntunin ang sariling buwang sa daigdig.
Dahil siya man si Maganday, siya rin si Malakas, ilaw ng tahanay, suhay din ng buhay.
Kasama siyang lumilikha at nagpapala at nagtataguyod ng pamilya at bansa.
Ang may kamay niyang naguugoy ng duyan
ay kasamang sumasagwan sa maalong dagat na magtatawid sa bangka ng pagbabago.
Pagkakapantay-pantay, hindi panglalabang at pagmamalabis.
Pagtutulungan, hindi pag-iiwanan.
Pagkakaisa-isa, hindi pagkakawatak-watak.
Babae, hindi babae lang. Hindi sila mas mababa.
Hindi sila mahihina. Hindi sila mga pipi na walang boses. Hindi dapat sila binubusal at pinatatahimik.
Hindi dapat nililimita ang kanilang kakayahan. Walang sinuman.
Walang sinuman ang may karapatan na yumurak sa kanilang katayupan.
Pakinggan ang kanilang sigaw na hindi man nais ipadinig. Damhin ang panawagan ng mga tinig ng nawalan.
Kailan tayo magsisimula ng hakbang? Ngayong matagal ng panahon na silang napiit sa kulungan.
Nang hindi pagkakapantay-pantay, nang hindi pagkilala.
Ang mga kababaihan ay higit pa sa kung anumang pamantayang minarka ng lipunan.
Sila'y matatag, sila'y malaban.
Sila'y matapang, sila'y walang inuurungan.
Sila'y mayroong boses, sila'y mayroong paninindigan. Sila'y storya ng paglaban, sila'y retrato ng tagumpay.
Hindi basta-basta napupundi, hindi basta-basta nauubusan.
Respeto,
pagpapahalaga,
pagkilala,
pagkakapantay-pantay,
pagtutulungan, pagkakaisa,
upang itaguyod ang karapatan ng mga kababaihan.
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 And with that, we would like to end with a statement.
From Associate Justice Marivic Leonen, our silence when we have the ability to speak is in itself a cause of injustice. Again, we are Group 1 representing 10A. Thank you for listening and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, 10A. Let's all give them a round of applause for their informative and well-researched discussion on the injustices of imprisoned women. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and we will collect them. And if not, let us continue with the next presentation.
So our next group, we will be talking about the discrimination against women in terms of Salle. They are composed of Kian Bawagan, Kenneth Malahacan, J.M. Asuncion, Sean Macaraeg, Denzel Pe, and Robert Talento. So let us welcome the group of 10BAS.
Friends, students, classmates, teachers, and parents, good afternoon. In the past, women used to only do housework. They aren't allowed to work, vote, and make their own decisions. Of course, this has changed by a lot, and however, the discrimination between males and females still exists. Right now, women still have a lower pay compared to men of the same status. Women should have equal opportunities that men get in terms of wage and job finding. Although men are now working alongside women to resolve this problem, there are still people in the society which are stuck from the old era. Sadly, both women and men.
More than 260 published pay gap studies over 60 countries in the world that the wage difference has fallen from around 65 to 30%. Well, that's a big number, but we know that 30% is still a lot in terms of the pay gap. And even if it's an amendment, we want value to go down to zero. And the Philippines of 4.84 that males earn 5,000 pesos more than their female counterparts. And what does this mean? That 5,000 pesos may not matter to others, but it is quite big if you consider the totality of everybody. And the gender pay gap is in between 23% and 30%, reflecting the higher degree if gender disparity in the labor market until gender disparities in human resources are taken into account. The women labor market participation in our country is lower than men's due to opportunities, domestic labor, and care constraints. Um, the domestic labor and care consultants, social norms, they also give rise to the gender gap in labor force participation rate. Presence or absence of substitutions for women's domestic work reinforces the mentality that men are better than women, which is totally not true. Women admitted that they would tolerate the abuse that they receive from their partner because they provide a stable income, because men has a better chance of landing jobs in work and having better pay.
Many claim that the pay gap exists because women are the ones who take care of their house as housewives. Chores in the house like cooking and washing clothes, taking care of their children, and more. These jobs have less impact to the economy. They are expected to be done by women. The pay gaps affect women in their life. It affects their income when they are still in the workforce and even if they're retired already. Their source of income, even after retirement, such as pensions and insurances, are also affected. The gender pay gap also depends on the structure of their family and their marital status. This is because single women compared to married women with children tend to earn more. So let's continue to our presentation. I guess you've heard of Teresita C. Corazon. Teresita Tan C. Corazon, more known as Tessie C., Vice President of SM Investments and Chairwoman of BDO Unibank, is an exemplary woman for every single Filipina and women around the globe. She is the living embodiment of being a woman. There will never be a barrier of doing the impossible. Just like what was discussed earlier, once women become mothers, they tend to leave their work life just to take care of their children. But Tessie C encourages them to focus on what they want to do, fight for it, and forget about the issue. Just like what she said, what is important is the knowledge, hard work, and determination. Forget the inequality issue. Differences are what make things more interesting. Both men and women should have equal chances in terms of finding a job and being paid. To promote to promote this, we have joined the He for She commitment and created t-shirts to spread awareness about this. Men usually have a higher salary than women because people expect women to be busy with all the housework. This also leads to some women that are being abused to rely on their abuser. If we achieve equal pay for both genders, then men and women can be seen as equals. So before we dive into our shirt designs for our merchandise, we would just like to thank Joy Malyari and the Pasita Abad Art Estate for letting us use their artworks. LA Liberty by Pasita Abad, you can see it on the left side, and Kisap Mata by Joy Malyari in the rightmost corner. Their works empower many Filipino women and make them feel represented in the world of art. So let's dive into our shirt designs. We have two shirt colors, black and white, and we also have three shirt designs. So for our first shirt design, in the front, you could see the word pantay and the baybayin of pantay in below of it. It will be placed in the middle area of the chest. For the back of the shirt, we have the hashtag he for she so that people would see the hashtag. You could use it in any social media platforms to voice out the advocacy. For our second shirt design, we have the name of the organization, he for she. It will be placed in the left portion of the chest area. And for the back of the shirts, we have the paintings that we discussed kanina. We have LA Liberty by Pasita Abad and Kisap Mata by Joy Malyari. We chose to present their works to promote Filipino artists and painters' artworks so that people would know na there are also Filipina painters and artists. They are striving to represent the Filipinas in the world of art. For the last shirt design, we have the definition of equality. It will be placed in the middle chest area, just like our first design. We have the definition of equality and some highlighted words in the definition. At the back, we have the logo of he for she. Not only are these shirts stylish and aesthetic, but you are also letting people know that you, especially women, that you are making a safe space for them and are continuously fighting for equality alongside women. Remember, please do remember that you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Thank you so much for listening to us. Have a great afternoon and thank you.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But I spent so many nights thinking of how you did me wrong. and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
So, ayan, salamat Mrs. Arshaga and salamat Mr. Padilla. Let's now move on to the next presentation.
Now, let us move on. For the next presentation, discrimination and abuse against OFW women. Composed of Ivan Bagorio, Sid Manalo, CJ Quizon, Paulo Mayo, and Ali Pierali.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are the 10C of PAREF Southridge, and we're here to present about the discrimination and abuse against overseas Filipino workers. So before we start, I would like to ask you guys a question. So what comes to your mind when you see these pictures? Please put your answer on the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, so a lot of you answered abuse or violence or domestic abuse. So that's exactly our topic for today.
And we all know that it's really disturbing. No one wants to go through that or see that happening.
So OFWs are often regarded as heroes. However, our group actually believes that we should exert more effort to make sure that these heroes are given the rights and respect that they deserve.
And judging by the current events, especially during this pandemic, the current effort and enforcement of policies and laws by the government is insufficient to address the issue of abuse experienced by our Filipina overseas workers.
Now, in order to see why, we need to learn more about the situation of the OFWs today, as well as the historical events that led up to it.
So our story of the OFWs starts shortly after the Marcos era. So laws such as the Presidential Decree 442 helped pave the way for OFWs and other labor programs. So these laws help address the issues of unemployment through the promotion of work abroad.
And even up to this day, the theme of working abroad to escape unemployment or poverty is still present. But now, there are even more laws that help OFWs, such as the RA 8042 or the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act of 1995.
Now, despite those laws, there are still numerous cases of abuses happening abroad. The current effort to preserve the well-being of the OFWs are still subpar, as proven by the high number of abuse cases. Take the case of Joanna Demafilis as an example, who was an OFW killed in Syria due to the abuse of her OFW employers.
So the tragic case of Joanna Demafilis is not an isolated incident. Another case of abuse is that of Jenaline Villavende. So this case not only showed us the extent of the abuse experienced by the OFWs, but also how long it can go unreported and undocumented.
So Jenaline was not abused for a week, a two, but for 5 months. These major incidents get reported and widely circulated, but there are also abuses that go unreported. For 5 months, the abuse of Jenaline went unreported, but by the time it was already found out, it was too late.
So it's stated that Jenaline's abuse was not discovered until about 5 months after, which just goes to show that there may be many more cases of the abuse of the OFWs.
Moreover, the Philippine government highly believed that the cause of her death was because of acute failure of the heart, due to miscommunication with the country Kuwait. But further investigation and autopsy made after the months of discovery of Jenaline's death showed that the cause of her death was sexual and domestic abuse, and not because of acute failure of the heart. This further led to the delay of justice given to Jenaline, which allowed her employers to avoid punishments set for what they have done.
Now, while the government has lifted the travel bans in favor of guaranteeing the OFW safety, the rights they actually have are very minimal and lackluster.
Loose labor laws in foreign countries, often without regulation, can cause contractual violations by the employer. This can lead to poor working conditions and low wages.
And there's also the problem of undocumented workers. So these workers often do not seek out legal protection from abuse due to fear of being deported or losing their job. So now these workers do not receive the benefits of being legally recognized as an OFW.
So they do not receive benefits such as insurance, and they can also be easily threatened by their employers and forced into free labor or abuse.
So with those cases in mind, how can we actually help make the life of OFWs better? What steps, plans, regulations could be put in place in order to guarantee the rights of each and every one of them?
So our group had an idea to solve this issue is that the OFWs must give monthly reports to their agencies. This is very important and beneficial for the OFWs as it assures that they are in a safe environment. One example is if the OFWs still have access to phones, which of course they should normally have. However, if the employers took the OFW's phones and were the ones that sent the report, there could be an issue.
Sorry, my technical difficulties. We disconnected the Wi-Fi. So, moving on. Now, while there are some laws still protecting the well-being of the OFWs, there are certainly many more aspects which we can approve upon, so as to guarantee the safety of the workers, such as giving them more rights and ways to seek help in abusive situations.
So the case of Jenalyn, as an example, has taught us that abuse is not just a one-time event. So we hope that this yearly checkup, which we hope to be implemented, can help recognize the early signs of abuse and for us to intervene before it becomes too late. And moreover, in order to make our plan more efficient and effective, there must be more manpower in agencies responsible for those OFWs. So more people in those agencies can mean that the reports which are sent in are easily processed and worked on. So this can help the agencies act faster towards the abuse and potentially solve the problem once again before it becomes too late.
And of course, these resolutions may take a while to fully implement and may not be perfect. However, we can assure you that by doing these resolutions, we can help the overseas Filipino workers against discrimination and abuse. We want to ensure that this resolution can be hopefully done so that the newer generation that is planning to work abroad wouldn't experience the same dreadful experiences as what the overseas Filipino workers experience. So based on what we have discussed during this presentation, it is clearly evident that there is a lack of effort of protecting the overseas Filipino workers from abuse and discrimination. We can also see that there are still many places in which the government can improve on, such as, for example, implementing new policies and laws that could help further our OFWs or the heroes of our country. And so in order to help awareness, to raise awareness of this issue and to help the victims, our group came up with a fundraising and awareness project.
So our group plans to conduct a fundraising project for the girls in Marilac Hills with a t-shirt of the following designs. So next, furthermore, we made a digital brochure to help spread awareness of the issue. So you can see that on our slides.
And that's pretty much it. We would like to thank everyone for listening until the end. We genuinely hope that you will commit to helping the girls in Marilac Hills and also in order to bring awareness towards abuse by buying the t-shirt. We hope that you gain lessons from our presentation. And again, we are the 10C of PAREF Southridge. Thank you guys for listening.
Let's give them a round of applause and see. Thank you for that informative and well-researched discussion of discrimination and abuse against OFW women. Likewise, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat box below. And if not, let's continue with the program.
So for the fourth presentation, Are Young Women Stupid? Elevating the Status of Women's Education, presented by Andrew Rodriguez, Justin San Agustin, Summer Shaga, Matt Diaz, and Xander Tumampos. Please give a clap for this presentation.
Hi, hello, good day everyone. Let me ask you a question at this moment. What are your thoughts about women? Do you think women are stupid? Do you think Men are built and created much greater than women. Who do you think is more capable of building a better nation? Men or women?
Are young women stupid? Elevating the status of women's education. That is the title of our presentation. What does stupidity mean? Is it about not being able to do a task? No. According to dictionaries, stupidity is a behavior that shows a lack of good sense or judgment.
Among all colleges and high school here in the Philippines, 71.3% of women are in high school and 40.4% are in college compared to men who tallied 60.2% and 40.4% respectively. In 2012, 56% of students who graduated college were women, outnumbering the status of men.
Is there a lack of good sense in that? Is there any presence of stupidity on that? None, because that data shows that women care more about their education, their studies, and their knowledge. They want to be someone in the future, a chef, an engineer, a nurse, a doctor, or anything. Women like studying and women like going to school.
In the same year, more than half of young women in the survey completed 11 years of education. In 2013, it rose to 63%, and in 2017, it hit 57%, while in particular, 33% completed more than 12 years of education. In the span of 9 years, women's education has improved.
In the academic year 2017 to 2018, women denominated the total number of students who took post-baccalaureate, master's degree, and doctorate degrees. In the same year, girl outnumbered boys in enrollment, and PSA recorded that 55.6% of women are in higher education institutions than men, averaging only at 44.4%.
For technical, vocational, education and training or TVET courses, a sum of 2.27 million or 53.3% of young ladies enrollees were recorded in 2016, contrasted with the 46.9% of young men who have taken on TVET courses.
These numbers already prove that women are not stupid academically and vocationally, and that they should be given immediate attention in terms of their education. If there's this full support coming from the government and society, women may revolutionize the status of our nation.
In 2017, 3.6 million young Filipinos are labeled as out-of-school youth, and 63.3% of those numbers are women, and the primary reasons are family matters and marriage. But they stated that it could have been a great opportunity for them if they've continued on it. While on the other hand, the remaining 36.7% are males who are out of school for the reason that they are not interested in going to school.
With more women not attending school due to serious matters compared to men who are far less in numbers when it comes to out of school youth. And with such a lame excuse, we therefore believe that we need to address this problem of young females who are not attending school more seriously, because this is one of the main reasons why women don't dominate or be in equal numbers as men in the workforce in some fields.
So let's take a look at the story of Rebecca Bustamante, a maid who became a CEO. She was one out of many students who stopped going to school because of financial problems. She is the seventh child of a family of 13. Because of her ill mother and unemployed father, she stopped schooling after high school and decided to work in Bataan as a factory worker just to make ends meet and fill their stomachs. Despite the suffering she experienced, she still dreams of becoming an accountant and a business owner. However, her mother passed away before she could even start changing the way their family lives. This event of her life brought them into a painful agony, and the misfortunes didn't stop there. She also found out that their house was pawned at a price of 100,000 pesos, and the only solution she thought was to work abroad. And she did. She worked in Singapore as a domestic helper at the age of 19. She worked hard as a domestic helper and she studied accounting on every day off she had every month. She completed several diploma courses in accounting, and after 3 years, she worked in Canada as a marketing executive, became part of Mary Kay Cosmetics and the Canadian Embassy. And in 2005, she decided to establish the company Chalray Associates. In an article by GMA, she said that learning is something that should not be forgotten and taken for granted. If you want to be successful, it's important to continue learning and to continue developing your skills, she added.
Now, in 2018, a 5.4% difference between wages were recorded between men and women, with men having the upper hand. Based on a study done by the Labor Force Survey in October 2008, there are 34 million employed persons, in which 38.4% are women. Women employment is highest in the age group of 25 to 34, tallying 24.8%, which is less than 4 million. However, men tallied 27.4%, which is about 6 million, and the shocking idea is that men dominated women in employment in all age groups in 2008.
In 2019, our country generated a pay gap of 10.2% between males and females. It means that a woman earns 10.2% less when a man earns $1. And in the totality of Filipino workforce, for women to have the same earnings as men, they need to work 98 days more than men.
So, even if women registered a high number of graduate students, school attendees, and employment, there is still this attitude of society that degrades women and devalues their basic human rights.
Lack of acknowledgement for women is also a big problem in our society that hinders them to be at their best. Common gender disparities like teachers favoring men over women when it comes to competitions and men treating women as always the second place. What I'm saying is that solving these problems by giving financial support to out of school young females and acknowledging the outstanding performances of women in school, politics, economy, science, and discoveries are what we can do as a mere Filipino citizens.
Our group is thinking of selling teas that are decorated or printed with designs that empowers women and acknowledging the diverse professions of women. It is because our group believes that women can be CEOs, women can be scientists, women can be part of government, and that women can be as diverse in terms of professions as men. Since greatness and intelligence start from school, let's help those young women to finish their education. Let women dominate the master's degree and doctorate degree courses. Let women dominate the higher education institutions, and let women be part of the brain of our society that will change the world and make the world a better place to live. We must eradicate the phrase, kababae mong tao, because gender should not be the standard whether a person can do a certain profession or not. The indicators must be talent, intelligence, diligence, and education, which we believe that every Filipino woman is striving to have by studying hard and finishing their education. Now, let's watch our advocacy video and please turn off our cameras for better quality. Thank you. Every second,
every minute,
every day, many women experience inequality in their education
because of people's mindset,
because of lack of government's action, because of lack of society support.
Because we think that their knowledge is limited and bounded and that their capabilities are restricted and insufficient.
How many more surveys should be done for us to wake up to the fact that women are being oppressed and considered a species lower nature than men?
How much more insults for women should take for us to see that they're being insulted?
How many more years should we sit and do nothing about it?
Women can do what men can do. We know that
women are capable of constructing houses.
Women can be doctors.
Women can solve even the hardest physics problem.
Women can write codes.
Women can build bridges.
Women can do math.
Women can be chefs.
Women can run in Olympics.
Women can mix chemicals.
Women can explore the universe.
Women can be attorneys,
judge,
and prosecutors.
Women can be senators.
Women can be presidents.
Women can be leaders.
Women are women and they are capable of everything.
Your voice,
your spirit,
your will can save billions of lives of women from inequality,
from oppression,
from this mess,
and it will be transformed to unity,
equality,
peace, and world domination of women in every field.
They will gain respect,
honor,
and pride.
Join us in our
cause and in our fight for women's
right to education, equal support,
and equal acknowledgement.
A young woman who wants an education will and must not be stopped. Nelson Mandela once quoted, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Thank you.
Thank you, Tendi, for that well researched and informative presentation. This concludes the four case presentations we have prepared for you today. Mamaya pa naman may last talk about the HeForShe movement. So stay tuned for that. Sit back, relax, and enjoy lang.
Before the voting, we should do the Mentimeter po muna. Mr. Encabo, you may take over po.
Thank you. Let's show them the slide so that they can see the code for the Mentimeter. So at this point, to all our guests and our friends, even our students, please go to menti.com and use the code 8058953. Or if you have your cell phone with you, you can also scan the QR code on your screen so that you will see the Mentimeter for this particular session. You will be asked to answer the question, what are the keywords or ideas have you learned from the presentation? So far, we can see 3 people answering this question. And there you go. Gab and Kian and Joaquin. Pag-usapan natin itong nakikita natin sa screen ngayon. What can you say?
It looks like so far the biggest word is equality.
Yes.
No,
so I think this is also an assessment of what our participants learned from our 4 presentations. There you go.
So what words could I see right now? Dignity, empowerment,
Empowerment,
yeah.
Injustice,
Abuse.
Abuse.
Yan, help support women daw.
Ito,
Time for change
oppression.
na daw.
Time for change. I like
Equal
that.
opportunities. Yan, equality din yun.
To those who are answering, if you feel like the word is already there, you can just retype it so that the word will be bigger.
Yeah.
Tulad nung nakikita natin sa equality.
Yeah. Yung mga malaki, equality, rights, dignity, empowerment, respect.
Wow.
Fighting.
Ayan, ang daming responses.
Gab, tingin mo
Salamat
ba
sa
may mga
inyo.
participants tayo na gustong mag-unmute at magsalita? Siguro, baka gusto nila mag-share ng kanilang natutunan sa 4 na presentations.
Ayan. Baka may gustong magsalita dyan. Kung wala magsasalita, magtatawag tayo.
Oo,
magtatawag
pwede.
tayo.
Magtatawag. Ako. Sino kaya?
Tawag muna tayo mula sa mga estudyante ng PAREF Southridge. Yan.
Yan.
Tignan
Let's start
natin
with your
talaga
brothers.
kung nakikinig
Go
yung mga ano natin. So, tawagin natin si Enrico Palalios. Andyan ka ba?
Hindi naman siguro kailangan na napaka-detailed ng natutunan.
Oo, just a summary. Yeah.
Simple words lang.
O sige, habang wala pa, ikaw muna, Gab, kasi you're putting your classmates on the spot. Ikaw ba, anong natutunan mo sa 4 na presentations na to?
So, ayan, ang natutunan ko syempre, men and women are equal talaga. So, walang mas mataas, walang mas mababa. Kasi we are all created by God in His image and likeness. So yan. So, since ayaw magsalita ni Enrico Palalios, so may pa-shoutout daw. May gusto daw magsalita ni Jello Patiluna. So,
Go ahead,
ayan.
Jello.
Hello, narinig ba?
Yes, Jello, we can hear you.
For me, ang gusto ko lang talaga i-point out is yung product. I mean, the products are so great na talagang pinag-isipan to spread and raise awareness that, yun nga, as everyone say, men and women are equal. So, talagang everyone should support the products of our classmates that has been done. Yun lang.
Correct. There are students from other schools who are asking if they can purchase your t-shirts. Later po, we will explain to you kung paano po kayo makaka-order ng mga t-shirts na ilalabas po namin very, very soon. But before we do that, guys, let me just read some of the comments from our judges dito sa ating chat. Can you please read them, Joaquin or Kian? From from Miss Violeta Apiles. Meron siyang sinabi dyan. Kian, can you read that for us?
Sige po, sir. They said, congratulations, young advocates for social change. Great job. Kudos to all of you and your teacher.
Yan. Meron pang sinabi si Ma'am Joji. Nandyan din.
Sabi niya naman, congratulations to our future leaders, be exponents of gender equality.
Ayan. And I think that is for us teachers, seeing all of you here today, all the 195 students and teachers who are here, we hope that we learned something from this conference. Hindi pa po to ending, pero gusto ko na magpasalamat ngayon pa lamang. And as you see in our Mentimeter, kitang-kita naman po that we all want to observe this, no, yung putting importance to the dignity of everyone, equality, empowerment, respect, no, to remove discrimination and to always observe the equal rights of our fellow men. So maraming salamat. I will be ending this screen sharing, and let me take this opportunity as well to acknowledge the presence of our dear principal, Mr. Ariel Marcera, in the call. Welcome, Mr. Marcera. Maraming salamat for being here.
So, ayan, salamat Mr. Encabo. So, salamat rin sa mga nag-participate. So, salamat sa inyong participation. Sana maging motivation ang mga nakuhang information sa ating education upang sa buhay magkaroon ng application para makatulong sa ating nation at sa next generation. So, here is the intermission of the afternoon school to showcase what their routines are during quarantine despite the pandemic. Dapat pa rin tayo maging resilient and syempre, happy. Roll the video.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Hey, that's our teachers, students, and parents of the AS family dancing to the song Happy by Pharrell Williams. As you could see that the afternoon school students and teachers have shown that despite tough times, we have to still stay happy, push through, be strong. Kaya smile naman kayo dyan. Don't forget to check our Southridge page, the ASSC Student Council page. And if you want to share your experience or your thoughts or what you have learned during this conference, make sure to use our official hashtags, hashtag Southridge HeForShe, hashtag Scholars for Change, and hashtag HeForShe. So, ayun na po ang last namin na pakulo for today. Sayo na sayo talaga mga SR students.
Salamat, Kian. Before we proceed to the HeForShe talk, we will be having a very short poll to be headed by Mr. Encabo. So pipili po tayo kung ano sa tingin natin ang best presentation so far. Mr. Encabo?
Okay, at this point on your screen, you will see the code for the next Mentimeter, and that is 9646785. What you'll do is you'll rank all the presentations we heard this afternoon. The first one talks about injustice of women and how the laws work for them. Presentation number 2 is discrimination against women in terms of salary. And number 3 is the discrimination and abuse against the OFW women. And for number 4, that is elevating the status of women's education. So go to menti.com and vote your favorite presentation. Let's do this. Good luck, everyone. And while we are doing that, Joaquin, anong pwede natin gawin while they are doing their votes? Let's have a group picture.
Like to,
okay, go ahead, Kian.
Group picture muna.
Sige. Smile, everyone. There are 11 screens now. Okay, so 11 times po tayo mag-smile. I'll be the one to count, and Reggie will help me do the screenshot, pero magkukuha din po ako ng pictures. So let's start. Screen number 1. Smile, everyone. Reggie, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Screen number 2. Ibig sabihin po, pangalawang smile nyo na po. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Yan. Saktong-sakto to kapag katas natin mag-picture, I'll be showing to you the results. Sino kaya ang ating people's choice para sa mga presentation na ito? Screen number 3. Smile everyone. 1, 2, 3. Adler, smile. Yon. Okay, next. Next screen, yung mga kasama ni Cedric, ni Sean, ni Dixie. Ayan, binabasa ko yung pangalan nyo. From Ateneo de Naga, smile everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next group. Wow. Smile everyone. 1, 2, 3. Ayan. Yung mga hindi nag-turn on ng camera, smile. 1, 2, 3. Yan, pusuan nyo na lang. Tama yung ginawa ni Gia. Pwedeng pusuan nyo na lang para kita kayo. Ayan, Dayan, thank you. Ayan, okay. I think we're good. Ikaw ba, Joaquin, kamusta yung mga presentation sa'yo? Are you happy with the presentation? Anong take away mo ngayong araw na to while waiting for the votes?
Sir, I guess first sabihin ko lang, sir, I have to be careful with my words. Pero, sir, may nakita akong comment kanina. I really like the comment. Sabi niya parang women are greater than men or kaya men are less than women. So, I really like that, yung sinabi niya na people are people. And siguro yung na-emphasize lang natin dito ngayon ay yung women. Kasi nga, kung titingnan natin yung movement nga na HeForShe, nagsisimula sa lalaki. Kasi bakit ba nagsisimula sa lalaki? Kasi nga, most of the time, tayong mga lalaki yung nagsisimula ng mga ganyan na discrimination against women. So I guess, maganda na na-emphasize sa talks ngayon yung mga babae. And yeah, I agree talaga na women and men are equal. People are people. And we can all make a difference in the world naman.
Thank you, Joaquin. Sige. Gab, meron tayong comment doon sa chat box from our department head, Mr. Erwin Varon. Can you please read that for us?
So yan, sabi po ni Mr. Erwin Varon, equality will definitely benefit us all. We must be allies against all forms of discrimination and abuse. Good job, sir, gentlemen, for being good role models to other men. Thank you also, Mr. Encampo. So, yun.
And yung ating kaibigan from the Rotary Club of Metro Escolta, meron din siyang message dito. Kian, can you please read that for us?
Sige po, sir. So, Ms. Sen Villanueva said, congratulations everyone for a successful HeForShe National Conference. National na pala na. You've all delivered the topics well. Thank you for that comment and we appreciate it.
Okay, salamat Kian, and thank you to our guests, our judges, our friends from the different parts of the Philippines. Thank you for coming. And ngayon, I will be sharing to you the screen kung saan makikita natin ang 112 votes na pumasok kung tungkol sa ranking ng presentation. Again, this ranking will not have an effect dun sa final scores natin na i-announce natin by later or tomorrow morning. Pero eto na ang mga boto na pumasok. Here we go. So far, based sa mga students na nakinig at sa mga bumoto, here is our ranking leading. Okay, the presentation is from group 4, I think, elevating the status of women in education. Sumunod ang injustices of women, how the law works for them. Sumunod ang discrimination of the OFWs. And last is the discrimination against women in terms of salary. Just to give you a little background to all our guests, we had 12 presentations from all the sections of the afternoon school grade 10. And out of these 12 presentations, pinili po namin ang best of the best. Sabi nga sa kanila, kung pwede lang mag-present ang 12 mga bata, bakit hindi? But you know, this is a good opportunity for them to practice and to see how to present in front of the public. And maraming salamat talaga to all these young gentlemen who presented their work. And I'm super proud of you as your teacher. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat. At this point, I will be ending my presentation and I'll bring back the microphone virtually to our MCs. Take it away, guys.
So, ayan, salamat Mr. Encabo. So, I am HeForShe. What follows would be a video na sana mag-inspire sa inyo to take action to be as a HeForShe as well. Let's strive for equality.
Okay, so to further stimulate your taste buds, excuse me for that, Mr. Peralta, Tin, and Diaz will be giving a talk about the He for She program. So if you're interested to know what the He for She program is, uh, sana po the talk would be enough for a student like you to act and strive for women's equality in the society. Take it away.
All right. Hopefully my audio is doing all right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully all of you are enjoying our program so far, despite all the technical difficulties that we encountered. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Right now, we're just going to be talking about a really, really important topic. All right. So I believe right now you guys are wondering, what is this all for? Why are we here? And most importantly, what is the purpose of all of this that we're doing?
Well, everything that we're doing right now, it is for none other than the He for She movement. The He for She movement is an organization formed in September 2014 by the UN Women's Organization, and its purpose and ultimate goal is to eradicate every trace of gender inequality on this planet.
They mainly intend to spread their message of gender equality all over the world by inviting not just women, but also men to take part in this movement and abolishing all the challenges that may stand in our way, such as negative gender stereotypes and behaviors, gender based violence, and discrimination that continue to hinder our unity and equality.
Well, most people overlook gender equality and don't necessarily give priority to it. But this is just outright wrong because gender equality is a very rampant issue nowadays, most especially because now the world is so complicated and there are a lot of grounds to discriminate women.
This is why the He for She movement mainly aims to break all social issues that bind us and bring us together in a world with no gap in gender. We will live in a world where men and women are seen as equals. We just had numerous talks addressing the problems we are facing, and if we don't act now, what will happen to us in the end?
Of course, the consequences for not doing anything about this issue are catastrophic. I mean, this issue is so catastrophic that numerous people has already taken part in this movement. World leaders, personalities, celebrities, you know it. Almost everyone on this planet have already shared their voice and supports the program. People such as former US President Barack Obama, Harry Styles, Tom Hiddleston, and many more have pledged their support to this program, which shows how crucial the issue really is.
Now it's your turn. If you wish to take part in and help in achieving gender equality, it will be explained later on how you can do this yourself and pledge your support to the movement. With just a small click, you can make a huge difference in the world.
To better explain the program, who would be better than the UN Women's Goodwill Ambassador Emma Watson to expand on what this program is all about?
I was appointed 6 months ago, and the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop. For the record, feminism, by definition, is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. I started questioning gender-based assumptions a long time ago. When I was 8, I was confused being called bossy because I wanted to direct the plays that we would put on for our parents. but the boys were not. When at 14, I started to be sexualized by certain elements of the media. When at 15, my girlfriends started dropping out of their beloved sports teams because they didn't want to appear muscly. When at 18, my male friends were unable to express their feelings. I decided that I was a feminist, and this seemed uncomplicated to me. But my recent research has shown me that feminism has become an unpopular word. Women are choosing not to identify as feminist. Apparently, I am among the ranks of women whose expressions are seen as too strong, too aggressive, isolating, and anti-men, unattractive even. Why has the word become such an uncomfortable one? I am from Britain, and I think it is right that I am paid the same as my male counterparts. I think it is right that I should be able to make decisions about my own body. I think it is right that women be involved on my behalf in the policies and the decisions that will affect my life. I think it is right that socially I am afforded the same respect as men. But sadly, I can say that there is no one country in the world where all women can expect to receive these rights. No country in the world can yet say that they have achieved gender equality. Thank you very, very much.
Emma Watson is a goodwill ambassador of the United Nations, and she gave this very moving speech about gender equality. And let's move on to how we can help and what we can do to actually make a difference, given that we know the situation na. Okay, nabigay na po sa atin yung sitwasyon. Kanina, by our 4 cases, we've seen the injustices, we've seen the problem, we've seen the cases of women. Now, how can we make a difference? Okay, can you next slide, please? That is the HeForShe website. You can go to it by going to HeForShe.org sa mga browser nyo. Isang mabilis na click lang and you will be directed to their website. And kitang-kita nyo naman agad, there are a bunch of articles, there are a bunch of stories about their movement, and you can research more on that later on. But for now, focus your attention on the top right part of the page. You can see the I commit button, and clicking that will give you will open up this panel. Next slide, please, which will ask for your information. So you have your first name and last name, your email address, the basics. Okay, and you can commit via your social media as well. You can commit via Twitter, Facebook, and your Google accounts. So afterwards, clicking the I commit button will give you your personal commitment number. So as you can see, I am number 2234402. I think that means that I am around 2 million. Okay, I am around that number for the people who have committed to the movement. And so there's a lot of work to be done. Okay, although kanina I remember there was a comment in our chat box saying that there are laws about the Magna Carta and women being helped. Yes, marami pong tumutulong, and there are a lot of movements and there are a lot of campaigns for it. However, that's not where we stop. Okay, we have a lot of work to do, especially in the Philippines, which is, if you look at take a look at the statistics of HeForShe, only around 14,000 have committed to the HeForShe movement. That is a very few number compared to our population. So dagdag nyo na po yung mga SR students na sumama sa HeForShe. We are now calling on for your help po. Okay, a lot of us here have social media accounts. A lot of us here are very knowledgeable pagdating sa internet. Okay, maybe we can get our friends to commit, maybe we can get our family to commit, and hopefully spread the word pagdating po sa he for she. Wala po tong bayad. This is our way of giving back and our way of promoting gender equality. This is our call to action. So, isang mabilis na pindot lang po sa inyong mga mouse and you can make a big change. You can get more people to commit, and hopefully in the near future we can see the results of our labor. Okay, so if you can see po dun sa background ng picture here, we have a bunch of people holding the he for she, a piece of paper with a he for she hashtag on it. Okay, so another way where how we can spread the advocacy is by doing the same thing as well. Next slide, please. Ayan, kung kita niyo po yung napakagwapong binata sa harapan ninyo, um, hindi po ako yan. De joke lang. So if you can see there, we can do our own way of spreading the advocacy by taking a picture of ourselves, our selfie, dahil napakagwapo at napakaganda po nating lahat. We can write on a piece of paper, hashtag he for she, okay, and then right underneath the country where we are from, Philippines, okay, and upload it sa kanya-kanyang mga social media natin. So if you have Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, even a YouTube channel, you can upload it there and use the hashtag he for she so that more people can see the advocacy and more people can commit. Sa mga maliliit na bagay po na yan, madami po ang nagbubunga. Sa mga bagay na sa tingin natin kahit na very minimal lang, the effects are very, very powerful. And so hopefully you all decide to commit given that you already know the situation. Alam niyo na po ang mga pinagdadaanan ng mga ating mga kababaihan, our mothers, our sisters, our loved ones. We know that there is a lot of work to be done. And so nasa sa inyo po 'yan. Okay? With one click of your mouse, with one touch on your cell phone screen, pwede po tayo mag-commit, and we can even upload our pictures on social media, and hopefully in the near future we can make this a better community and a better environment, not just for us men, not just for the women, but for everyone involved. And hopefully maybe then can we say that we have a gender equal society. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Kiko, Daniel, and Ben. Hope you're all inspired by the talks given today. Remember to check the link set in the chat box if you wish to watch Emma Watson's speech. I am also encouraging you to commit to the He for She movement kasi, you know, we need all the help we could get. Sana nag-enjoy din kayo sa mga palaro at pakulo namin. And before we end, we would like to call on Miss Sen Villanueva, the club president of Rotary Metro Escolta, to give a few words about today.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Sir Chuck and Cabo for inviting me to be part of this meaningful event. Next, I would like to congratulate all the groups in all your presentations. You've delivered the topics well. I remember when I was in college, pero wag niyo nang itanong kung kailan pa yun. So we were assigned the same projects, pero ano siya, video documentary on people with special needs. So same pero wala kaming ganyan na projects na we can raise funds para dun sa beneficiaries. So sa amin for grades only. So nakakatuwa na may ganyan na ngayon, and you can help promote gender equality, especially mga boys kayo, tapos you're promoting women empowerment. So I know you spend a lot of efforts to come up with this kind of presentations. Napakahirap nung ginawa nyo, and yet you delivered well. Being a gender and development member for more than 5 years now, kasi sa government offices, we promote gender equality. We are required also to spend 5% of our budget for activities promoting gender equality. So I am really happy to witness this event, which was organized by young leaders like you. And I'm sure kung napapanood to ng mga members namin in the government sector, matutuwa rin sila for your efforts. Thank you for your efforts to intensify the promotion of awareness on gender-sensitive issues through this. Yun lang. Again, thank you and congratulations.
So yan, maraming salamat po Miss Sen Villanueva. Let's now call on Isaiah Sunga and Jace Asuncion for the closing message.
So on behalf of our whole batch, we would like to express our greatest appreciation for accepting our invitation to this conference. It is our hope that based on this online conference, in the future we will be able to respond together to issues that we have in common and achieve our common objectives. Thank you all very much for your cooperation. We appreciate very much all opportunities we have been given here.
We would like to add our thanks to Pian Bawagan, Gababad, and Joaquin Padilla for hosting this important event. We would also like to thank the speakers and everyone who has participated for the insightful and heartfelt contributions. Special thanks to all the schools for joining us and adding a perspective to the discussion. Our discussion has been one of many going on around the world for this year's International Women's Day. This has been our first and a hugely important opportunity to spotlight the connection between violence against women. And again, thank you all for coming.
Salamat Mr. Asuncion and Mr. Sunga. So now let's call on Mr. N. Cabo.
Once again, on behalf of the whole afternoon school in PAREF Southridge, gusto namin magpasalamat sa inyong lahat for joining us in this event. As a teacher of these boys, I'm really proud of them. No, konting yabang lang po, matagal pinaghandaan ng mga bata ang performance task na ito. And gusto ko rin magpasalamat sa Rotary Club of Metro Escolta for sponsoring this event. For the information of everyone, we are not currently collecting donations for Marilac Hills para sa project na ito. And just to give an idea, may certain amount na po kami nakolekta. Gagamitin namin ang certain amount na yon sa pagpuproduce ng mga t-shirts na ilalabas namin very soon. Kung sino man po ang mapipili nating best presentation ngayong araw na ito, na i-announce din po namin next week on our official Facebook pages. Once again, thank you everyone. And you know what? To the young people here listening, you are being labeled as a generation na ang tawag sa inyo, snowflakes generation. Ang ibig sabihin daw nun, kayo daw yung generation na walang pakialam sa mga nangyayari sa mundo at walang pakialam sa panaghirapan nung nakakatanda sa inyo. Pero ngayong araw na to, pinatunayan nyo na mali ang statement na yon because you stepped up, you're now here in this conference sharing your ideas and sharing your desire to help promote gender equality. This is not just about promoting the school halimbawa or showing you how talented the students are, but really sana the teachers who are watching will replicate this activity. Invite us in your school. We're very excited to go to your school also. To the students who are here, a lot of you are showing already interest in doing your own advocacies in your schools. Sana ang tanging matutunan nyo dito ay pagkatapos ng natutunan natin sa 4 na corners ng frame na ito, sana ay makalabas tayo at makatulong sa iba dahil ang gusto natin sa pag-aaral ng social studies is for you to become effective citizens of this country, mga kabataang may pakialam dahil ang kinabukasan ay nakasalalay sa inyong mga kamay. With that, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat and God bless everyone.
So, ayun, salamat sa pinaka-pogi naming social studies teacher dyan sa PAREF Southridge School. Yes, support naman dyan. So, ito po ang aking takeaway as I end. To end discrimination, we must solve the division and separation, hesitation and isolation, take action, our imagination, spread the information to have a transformation of this generation. We need all our cooperation in making this world a better nation. Ako po ulit si Gabriel Abad, signing off.
Kailan mo yan ginawa, Gab? Anyways, as Gloria Steinem said, a gender equality society would be one where the word gender does not exist. And again, I am Kian Bawagan.
To end, as Vera Nazarian said, a woman is human. She is not better, wiser, stronger, more intelligent, more creative, or more responsible than a man. Likewise, she is never less. Equality is a given. With that, I am Joaquin Padilla, your host, signing off. Also, I would like to invite the SR students to sing along to the school hymn and invite everyone to listen. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us in this conference, and you may now leave the call.
Once again, maraming salamat po. I posted the link of the evaluation of our conference. Please go there and answer the evaluation. Maraming salamat po dahil makakatulong to sa feedback natin sa mga estudyante natin dito sa Southridge. Once again, thank you everyone. Mr. Mercera, congratulations everyone, and continue to challenge one another to do good deeds and meaningful contribution to our society. From Juby High School to the organizers and the young enthusiastic hosts, the confident and witty presenters, the young advocates of gender equality, thank you so much for the invitation. I am sure not only did our students learn from you, but also us, the teachers. You are all inspiration. Congratulations and God bless. From Sir Jello, one of our judges from Malabon, I was able to watch the presentation on migrant women workers. The presentation is organized and the speakers were able to convey the message clearly. I also saw the effort of the group in giving possible solution about the issue. This point of improvement. I hope you can be clear and precise with your sample solutions. Congratulations to everyone once again. Makakatulog na kayo, sabi ni Sir.